Well, today I thought I'd talk about integrity. I had something happen earlier in the day that made me think about integrity. And of course, that's part of what I'm interested in sharing about because integrity is a critical aspect of my life, and I think it should be a critical aspect of everybody's lives. Um, I'll start out by sharing an incident an experience I had not too long ago. I had a client who wanted me to put a plant in the landscape on plans that I signed and sealed as a landscape architect. Uh, and it was a plant that, from my knowledge, my body of knowledge, from the resources that I use, it was a plant that lived only in South Florida. I'm sure, as we know, we can grow all kind of plants. The English had oranges in England. Well, they had them in a greenhouse in England, right? There's plants that will live in certain ecosystems, maybe in the shade, uh, uh, in a hot area, maybe in the sun in a cold area, right, on one side of the building or the other. There's unique situations that might work, but it's not something that, as a person putting together plans and trying to give clients something that will work, that has integrity, uh, it's not something that I take lightly. So this particular plant lived, from my knowledge, and using the USDA plant hardiness zones and looking at the Florida yards and neighborhood references that are, you know, everyone should be able to agree on that. That's done by the Extension Service, IFAS in Florida. And looking at those things, that this plant was a zone 11 plant. It didn't grow in zone 9, it didn't grow in zone 8, and this particular site was on the north side of zone 9, so we weren't 11, 10, 9, right? We were well out of the plant's area of viability, excuse me. So, and integrity is important to my professional license. And I had shared with the person, I really don't think I can, we need to change the plant. Uh, we can't do this plant. And anyway, they were insisting about it, and I was telling them, no, I'm not going to sign and seal plans with something that doesn't grow in this uh, plant hardiness zone, right? So that was important. Uh, Integrity, even if I didn't have to, if even if I wasn't licensed, which I am. I'm a registered landscape architect. But if I wasn't licensed, I'd still want to hold that integrity of being a person of knowledge, a person that people depend on. I need to do things that will maintain my integrity. Uh, that brought what brought this about was the day I ran into some friends, and they were people who had attended the same uh, church, the same denomination that I at once was very active in, and they were asking me, where do I go to church now? Because things have moved, time has moved on, and um, they had moved churches and things like that, and they were asking me where I was going, and so I responded to them, and it made me think, why am I taking the route that I'm taking? Well, the if you have leadership of any organization, let's take, for example, Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous. Uh, and they may not have a very formal leadership situation, but all organizations has leadership. There's people who other people look up to, who take on responsibilities, who, what are they? I think in those organizations they sponsor people, right? Uh, if you're an alcoholic, everybody, you've watched enough TV shows to know that in the Alcoholics Anonymous group or Narcotics Anonymous group, similarly, the person says they're sitting in the circle and the person says, "Hey, I'm John and I'm an alcoholic," right? They claim what they are. They claim the issue. They claim what is central to who they are in this organization. It wouldn't make sense for someone who is a crack addict to say, "Hey, hey, I'm Joe, but I don't have a problem with crack." And everybody would know or suspect, well, what are you doing here for one thing? But what are you saying to us? Of course, you've got a problem. Everybody here in our organization has a problem. Why are you saying this to us? So there would be a lack of integrity in that statement. We expect people to tell us the truth, and so that we can move forward. And of course, so that is an offense. That's what they're addressing is an offense, and it's not that having a beer is an offense, but letting it take over your life, letting it affect. The offense comes in how you offend your employer, your spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. Right? Is the relationships that you have with others in society become problematic, and that is the offense that's happening. You let this substance create an offensive situation. So you admit it and you say, "This is who I am." Likewise, in a church or any religious organization, in a denomination, well, we know it's pretty much based on offense. It's based on sin. And if you're in a leadership position in a church, clearly you'd need to say, "Well, I'm a sinner. I have sinned." And it doesn't make sense to have a leader who claims they're sinless, or to claim that, well, you guys might say something is a sin, but I'm not saying it's a sin. I think it's cool with me. Well, that's fine if you think it's cool with you, but you're not claiming that claim should negate your ability to be a leader in that organization, because the organization, the doctrines, the dogma of the organization states the Bible, the biblical background of the organization, the church, the denomination, pretty much delineates that certain things are sins, whether we like it or not. So it's one thing. Certainly, there's grace, there's forgiveness. You admit that you're a sinner. People forgive you for being a sinner, just as they hope that you forgive them, right? So, and you move on, but we expect our leaders to be able to um, admit their sin and to ask for forgiveness and to claim, "I'm working on, with the grace of God, overcoming that particular sinful situation." Um, but in the denomination that I was participating in, the leadership, I would go to communion and there would be somebody there who is serving me communion, which is a sacrament in for the denomination. Whether I think it's a sacrament or not isn't important. The denomination itself thinks it's a sacrament, and they're allowing someone who is a non-repentant sinner to serve the sacrament, and that just is nonsensical. There's no integrity in that. There's no integrity in having a saying you believe in something essentially, and then ignoring that you are supposed to believe in that, and to just let anybody do anything they want to do. So that's the important thing about integrity. If we have a building that is has poor structure, the structural integrity is in question, then um, the government comes and puts a posting on the building that says "Do not enter." Why? Because it's a dangerous place to be. It's not safe. It's not healthy to be there. When we have, if there's thin ice, you don't want to go out on the thin ice because the structural and the integrity of the ice is not safe. It's not good to participate, to skate on ice that is too thin. And for relational integrity, it's you have to have, you can't lie, you can't steal, you have to be trustworthy. And if you're not, then the integrity of your relationships is broken down. It doesn't work. It doesn't function. So in our society and across the world, it's critical to maintain integrity, whatever you're doing in life. So whether I'm practicing as a landscape architect and making sure that the structure of the landscape, the elements of the landscape have integrity, or have a sustainability. And that's to me the critical aspect about sustainability is you're actually going for environmental integrity, something that will function over the long term, that doesn't have problems, that you don't have to do pretend things to uh, uh, help out along the way. So if you live in a desert, there's not a lot of integrity in putting a water plant in the middle of a desert. Yes, you can make that work because you can spend all your time and money making sure there's water for the plant. But if you want true overall environmental integrity for what your environment presents to you, if you want integrity in relationships, then for your relationships, then you have to do what uh, what is required to maintain that integrity. Anyway, hope that gives you something to think about. It's just something I'm thinking about. Have a good day.